and the bond. When Sergei awoke, he was in the care of a... He clutched a worn letter in his hand, the ink smudged from tears. Her words echoed in his mind. "Sergei, promise me you will never become like your father." But how could he keep that promise when Nikolai, their father, was already pulling them into his dark world? Nikolai Kravinov was a man carved from iron and shadow. A ruthless drug lord with an empire built on fear and blood, he saw his sons not as children, but as weapons to wield. He regarded Sergei as the strong heir, the future of his empire, while Dmitri was dismissed as weak and unworthy. At the funeral, Nikolai's cold voice cut through the mourning. "Your mother was of a weak mind. She could not survive in this world." Sergei's heart burned with hatred. "She died because of you," he whispered under his breath. Chapter 2. The hunt begins. Weeks later, Nikolai summoned his sons for a hunting trip to Ghana. The African savanna stretched endlessly beneath a blazing sun, alive with the sounds of wildlife and the whispers of ancient legends. Nikolai's obsession was Tsar, a lion whose name was spoken in fearful reverence. The beast was said to have killed 3,000 men, earning the title, "the one who cannot be killed." To Nikolai, killing Tsar was more than a hunt. It was a path to immortality. The hunting party was a tense gathering. Alexei Sitsevich, a brutish man with ambitions as large as the savannah, sought to ally with Nikolai. But Nikolai's pride was unyielding. "I do not need partners," he sneered. "I lead alone." Sergei and Dmitri, still raw from their mother's death, found themselves lost in the vast wilderness. The tall grass whispered secrets as Tsar emerged from the shadows, his golden eyes locking with Sergei's. Time seemed to freeze. Sergei did not raise his rifle, neither did Tsar attack. A silent understanding passed between hunter and hunted. But the fragile peace shattered when Nikolai appeared, gun raised. He fired 3 shots that tore through Tsar's flank. The lion roared in pain and fury, lunging at Sergei. Without hesitation, Sergei threw himself between Tsar and Dmitri, taking the brunt of the attack. Bloodied and broken, Sergei was carried away by Tsar into the depths of the jungle. Chapter 3. The Healing and the Bond. When Sergei awoke, he was in the care of a mysterious woman named Calypso. Her eyes held the wisdom of the ages, and her hands moved with gentle purpose as she applied a glowing serum to his wounds. "This serum," she explained softly, "binds the blood of man and beast. It will change you, but it will save you." Sergei felt the serum pulse through his veins, a strange warmth spreading from his chest to his fingertips. His senses sharpened, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of birds, even the heartbeat of the earth itself. Calypso, trained by her grandmother in the ancient art of tarot reading, left behind a tarot card, a symbol of fate and transformation. "You have been chosen," she said. "The hunt is not over." Chapter 4. Legacy and Rebellion. Back in London, Nikolai awaited their return. He declared Sergei his successor, a crown forged in blood and power. But Sergei's heart rebelled. He clutched his mother's letters, her pleas echoing louder than his father's commands. "You killed Tsar to teach us a lesson," Sergei spat, eyes blazing. "But you've only shown me what I refuse to become." Disgusted and defiant, Sergei fled to a sanctuary in the remote Russian wilderness, a refuge once owned by his mother. There, surrounded by snow and silence, Sergei began to understand his new nature. His strength grew, his agility became unnatural, and animals no longer feared him. During a wildebeest stampede, the massive beasts swerved around him, recognizing something wild and kinship in his blood. He was no longer just a man. He was a hunter. Chapter 5. The Rise of Craven. 16 years passed. Sergei had become Craven, a vigilante stalking the shadows, hunting those who preyed on the innocent. He orchestrated his own arrest to infiltrate a remote Russian prison, where Semyon Chorny, a notorious arms dealer, awaited. The prison was a brutal place, filled with hardened criminals. They mocked and bullied Craven, but none could match his strength. In a fierce confrontation, Craven ended Semyon's reign of terror, destroying the man and his deadly weapons. Breaking free from the prison's iron grip, Craven's legend began to spread. Chapter 6. Allies and Enemies. In London, Calypso had transformed from healer to lawyer, using her knowledge to fight corruption from within the system. When Craven found her again, their reunion was charged with unspoken history. "You're the boy I saved," Calypso said, eyes searching his. "I hunt criminals now," Craven replied. "I need your help." Together they formed a deadly partnership, Calypso providing intelligence, Craven delivering justice. Disoriented and weakened, Craven barely escaped with Calypso's help. Meanwhile, Dmitri was swayed by Alexei's promises of power, learning of his brother's secret identity as the Hunter. Chapter 8. The Final Hunt. Back at his sanctuary, Craven worked feverishly to recreate the serum that had saved him. Alexei and the foreigner launched a brutal attack. Calypso killed the foreigner with a crossbow, reviving Craven with the serum. In a breathtaking battle, Craven used a buffalo stampede to trap and kill Alexei, despite the latter's monstrous strength. Chapter 9. The Father's Fall. Craven confronted Nikolai, who confessed to manipulating his sons to eliminate threats. During a bear hunt, Craven sabotaged Nikolai's rifle, leaving him to face the wild alone. The bear's roar echoed through the forest as Nikolai's fate was sealed. Chapter 10. Legacy of the Hunter. 1 year later, Craven visited Dmitri, now ruler of their father's criminal empire and gifted with shape-shifting powers. Dmitri rejected Craven, declaring them both hunters in a ruthless game. Craven returned home to find a note from Nikolai and a vest crafted from Tsar's skin. He donned the vest, ready to embrace his destiny as the ultimate hunter. Chapter 11. Shadows of the Past Months. After Dmitri's rejection, Craven wrestled with his fractured family legacy. Haunted by memories of his mother and the violent lessons from Nikolai, he sought answers buried deep in old family archives. In a hidden study beneath the London estate, Sergei uncovered journals revealing Nikolai's ruthless rise to power and the dark experiments that birthed Alexei's monstrous form. The writings hinted at a secret society manipulating the Kravenov bloodline for their own ends. Chapter 12. The Secret Society. Craven's investigation led him to a clandestine group known only as the Hunt, an ancient order obsessed with controlling the world's greatest predators, both human and animal. Members included corrupt politicians, mercenaries, and scientists who had long exploited genetic manipulation to create superhuman hunters. Craven realized his family's legacy was a pawn in their game, and to break free, he would have to confront them head-on. Chapter 13. Calypso's Revelation. Calypso, digging into her grandmother's past, discovered that the serum she gave Sergei was crafted from rare herbs guarded by the Hunt. Her grandmother had once been a member but left after a tragic betrayal. Calypso's connection to the serum was deeper than she realized. Her bloodline was intertwined with the very magic and science that created the Hunters. Together, she and Craven planned to infiltrate the Hunt's stronghold. Chapter 14. Dmitri's Descent. Meanwhile, Dmitri's rule over the criminal empire grew darker. Empowered by his shape-shifting abilities, he embraced his father's ruthless tactics, but paranoia gnawed at him. Haunted by visions of Sergei and the Lion Tsar, Dmitri struggled with his identity. Was he truly a hunter, or merely a beast consumed by power? His internal conflict set him on a collision course with his brother. Chapter 15. The Hunt's Trial. Craven and Calypso infiltrated the Hunt's secret facility, hidden deep within the Siberian tundra. There, they faced a series of brutal trials designed to test their strength, cunning, and loyalty. The trials forced Craven to confront his animalistic instincts and the darkness within. Calypso's knowledge of tarot and ancient rites proved invaluable, guiding them through deadly traps and psychological warfare. Chapter 16. Allies Among Enemies. Inside the stronghold, Craven encountered other captives victims of the Hunt's experiments who had been transformed into hybrid warriors. Some were broken, others fiercely defiant. Craven's compassion and leadership inspired a rebellion. Together, they forged an uneasy alliance, united by a common goal: to dismantle the Hunt and reclaim their humanity. Chapter 17. Dimitri's Betrayal. Back in London, Dimitri uncovered Craven's plan and saw it as a threat to his empire. In a ruthless move, he allied with mercenaries to capture Calypso, hoping to lure Craven into a trap. The betrayal cut deep, forcing Craven to question whether family bonds could ever be restored or if blood ties were merely chains. Chapter 18. The Rescue Craven launched a daring mission to rescue Calypso from Dimitri's clutches. The operation was a high-stakes game of cat and mouse through the neon-lit streets of London. Using his enhanced senses and agility, Craven outmaneuvered Dimitri's forces, culminating in a fierce confrontation atop the city's skyline. The brothers clashed, not just in battle, but in ideology. Chapter 19. The Lion's Legacy. During the fight, Dimitri revealed a shocking truth. He had discovered a way to harness Tsar's spirit through forbidden rituals, granting him powers rivaling Craven's. The brothers' battle became a symbolic struggle between man and beast, legacy and choice. In the end, Craven's respect for the lion's spirit and his own humanity gave him the edge. Chapter 20. A New Dawn. With the Hunt dismantled and Dimitri defeated but not destroyed, Craven and Calypso stood at the threshold of a new era. Sergei vowed to use his powers to protect the innocent, embracing his role as both hunter and guardian. Calypso, now fully embracing her mystical heritage, pledged to stand by his side. Together, they would face whatever new threats emerged from the shadows, because the hunt was never truly over. Would you like me to continue expanding any of these chapters with detailed scenes, dialogue, or action sequences? Write more 20 chapters. Write more 20 chapters. Answer certainly. Here are 20 additional chapters to further expand the story of Sergei Kravenov, Craven the Hunter, deepening the plot, exploring new characters and conflicts, and enriching the world around him. Craven the Hunter, The Endless Hunt. Chapter 21. Echoes of the wild Craven and Calypso journey to the heart of Africa, where legends of Tsar live on among tribal elders. They seek ancient wisdom about the lion's spirit and the balance between man and beast. The local tribes share stories of hunters who became one with nature, warning Sergei that his powers come with a price. Meanwhile, mysterious trackers begin shadowing their movements. Chapter 22. The Tracker's Game. A skilled hunter known only as the Tracker arrives, hired by remnants of the hunt to capture Craven. The Tracker's uncanny ability to mimic animal behaviors and his mastery of tracking force Craven to rely on both his human cunning and animal instincts. A deadly game of cat and mouse ensues through dense jungles and urban sprawls. Chapter 23. Calypso's Past. Calypso reveals her childhood, growing up in a secretive community of mystics who guarded the knowledge of the serum and tarot. Her grandmother's mysterious disappearance haunts her, and she suspects the hunt's influence. This chapter explores Calypso's internal struggle between science and mysticism and her growing bond with Sergei. Chapter 24. Dimitri's Shadow. Dimitri, now fully embracing his shape-shifting powers, begins expanding his criminal empire into new territories. His ruthlessness grows, but so does his paranoia. Haunted by dreams of Tsar and Sergei, Dimitri seeks forbidden rituals to amplify his powers, risking losing himself to the beast within. Chapter 24. Dimitri's Shadow. Dimitri, now fully embracing his shape-shifting powers, begins expanding his criminal empire into new territories. His ruthlessness grows, but so does his paranoia. Haunted by dreams of Tsar and Sergei, Dimitri seeks forbidden rituals to amplify his powers, risking losing himself to the beast within. Chapter 25. The Hunt's Resurrection. Despite the Hunt's defeat, a faction survives in the shadows, led by a mysterious figure known as the Alpha. This new threat seeks to reclaim control over the superhuman hunters and harness their powers for global domination. Kraven and Calypso prepare for a war that could engulf the world. Chapter 26. The Alpha's Challenge. The Alpha issues a public challenge to Kraven, forcing him into a brutal tournament where hunters fight for supremacy. The event draws warriors from around the globe, each with unique abilities and dark pasts. Kraven must navigate alliances and betrayals while proving himself the ultimate hunter. Chapter 27. Allies and Rivals. During the tournament, Kraven encounters old foes and unexpected allies. A fierce warrior with wolf-like abilities challenges him, while a cunning mercenary offers uneasy cooperation. Calypso uncovers secrets about the Alpha's identity and his connection to the Kravenov bloodline. Chapter 28. The Blood Moon Ritual. The Alpha plans a ritual during the blood moon to unlock ancient powers tied to the hunter's lineage. Kraven and Calypso race against time to stop the ceremony, facing deadly traps and supernatural forces. The ritual's success could tip the balance between humanity and the wild forever. Chapter 29. Betrayal. Within one of Kraven's closest allies is revealed to be a double agent working for the Alpha. The betrayal shakes Kraven's trust and forces him to question his judgment. Calypso's mystical insights help uncover the traitor's motives, leading to a tense confrontation. Chapter 30. The Lost Sanctuary. Kraven discovers a hidden sanctuary deep in the Siberian wilderness, a place where the first hunters trained and where the serum was first created. Exploring the ruins, he finds ancient artifacts and clues about his mother's true role in the hunter's legacy. Chapter 31. Dimitri's Reckoning. Dimitri's descent into darkness culminates in a violent confrontation with his own followers, who fear his growing instability. Isolated and desperate, Dimitri reaches out to Kraven, proposing a fragile truce to face the Alpha together. The brothers' uneasy alliance sets the stage for a greater conflict. Chapter 32. The Alpha's True Face. The Alpha's identity is revealed. A former Kravenov ancestor resurrected through forbidden science and dark magic. His vision is to create a new world order ruled by hunters, where humanity is subjugated. Kraven must confront the sins of his bloodline to stop this apocalyptic future. Chapter 33. The Siege of the Sanctuary. The Alpha's forces attack the lost sanctuary, forcing Kraven, Calypso, and Dimitri to defend it. The battle is fierce, blending primal combat with supernatural powers. Allies from previous chapters return to aid in the fight, highlighting themes of loyalty and redemption. Chapter 34. The Hunter's Code. In the aftermath, Kraven reflects on his journey and the code he lives by. He vows to protect the balance between man and beast, rejecting the tyranny of the Alpha. Calypso's faith in him strengthens, and their partnership deepens into something more profound. Chapter 35. Shadows in the City. Back in London, a new threat emerges. A syndicate using advanced technology to hunt and capture superhuman beings. Craven and Calypso must navigate the city's underworld, blending their primal skills with modern tactics to dismantle this new menace. Chapter 36. The Scientist's Gambit. A brilliant but unethical scientist working for the syndicate develops a serum to replicate Craven's powers. The experiments go horribly wrong, creating monstrous creatures that threaten to spiral out of control. Craven faces the moral dilemma of destroying these beings or saving them. Chapter 37. Calypso's Vision. Calypso experiences a powerful vision revealing a coming catastrophe tied.
Review.
The cold winter wind swept across the sprawling grounds of the prestigious New York Academy, where Sergei Kravenov and his half-brother Dmitri studied. The news of their mother's death had shattered the fragile bubble of their privileged lives. Sergei sat alone in his dorm room, the weight of grief pressing down on him like a stone. His mother's suicide was a wound that refused to heal. He clutched a worn letter in his hand, the ink smudged from tears. Her words echoed in his mind. "Sergei, promise me you will never become like your father." But how could he keep that promise when Nikolai, their father, was already pulling them into his dark world? Nikolai Kravenov was a man carved from iron and shadow. A ruthless drug lord with an empire built on fear and blood, he saw his sons not as children, but as weapons to wield. He regarded Sergei as the strong heir, the future of his empire, while Dmitri was dismissed as weak and unworthy. At the funeral, Nikolai's cold voice cut through the mourning. "Your mother was of a weak mind. She could not survive in this world." Sergei's heart burned with hatred. "She died because of you," he whispered under his breath. Chapter 2. The hunt begins. Weeks later, Nikolai summoned his sons for a hunting trip to Ghana. The African savanna stretched endlessly beneath a blazing sun, alive with the sounds of wildlife and the whispers of ancient legends. Nikolai's obsession was Tsar, a lion whose name was spoken in fearful reverence. The beast was said to have killed 3,000 men, earning the title, "The One Who Cannot Be Killed." To Nikolai, killing Tsar was more than a hunt. It was a path to immortality. The hunting party was a tense gathering. Alexei Sitsevich, a brutish man with ambitions as large as the savannah, sought to ally with Nikolai. But Nikolai's pride was unyielding. "I do not need partners," he sneered. "I lead alone." Sergei and Dmitri, still raw from their mother's death, found themselves lost in the vast wilderness. The tall grass whispered secrets as Tsar emerged from the shadows, his golden eyes locking with Sergei's. Time seemed to freeze. Sergei did not raise his rifle, neither did Tsar attack. A silent understanding passed between hunter and hunted. But the fragile peace shattered when Nikolai appeared, gun raised. He fired 3 shots that tore through Tsar's flank. The lion roared in pain and fury, lunging at Sergei. Without hesitation, Sergei threw himself between Tsar and Dmitri, taking the brunt of the attack. Bloodied and broken, Sergei was carried away by Tsar into the depths of the jungle. Chapter 3. The Healing and the Bond. When Sergei awoke, he was in the care of a mysterious woman named Calypso. Her eyes held the wisdom of the ages, and her hands moved with gentle